Alright, what's going on, guys? This episode is going to focus on soul split flicking, which is a very, very important technique, especially when it comes to high level bossing. It's important because essentially what you're doing is you're optimizing your sustain. What soul split flicking is you have soul split on whenever you are whenever the boss isn't actively damaging you. And then when the boss is damaging you, you're using a protection prayer to reduce the damage as much as you can. And it's really important for conserving resources, which, you know, works in tandem with the last video. But it's also really important for just keeping your HP high. So if you're properly soul split flicking, there's a lot of mechanics where you'll just be near full health the whole fight. So there are a lot of mechanics where you can just you can just tank it if you wanted to, or like you don't have to be as careful just because your health is so high. So the boss I like to practice this on is Raksha, because our Glacier doesn't punish you hard enough for missing if you're not doing hard mode. And if you are doing hard mode, you probably are at least decent at it if you can like camp a hard mode. So here we'll just go in. We're going in on practice mode so that there's no consequences if we die. So for Raksha in particular, his 3 different attacks are his headbutt, which has the shortest wind up. It's a melee hit. We have his range attack, which is he like shoots spikes out of his tail. It takes a while to get to. It's the easiest one to dodge. And then he has his magic attack where he shoots like a shadow bomb at you. It's also pretty easy to tell when it's coming. So first we're gonna do a phase 1 where we just protect. We're not gonna use soul split at all, just to kind of show you like how big of a difference it makes. I'm also not using any overloads just for the sake of
The flow has been interrupted. He is roused.
For the sake of not wasting resources.
Do not let him absorb the shadow.
I also have the devoted perk on, so it's coming in like really clutch here, where I'm just not taking it anywhere near as much damage as I should be. Oh, I didn't even put the right prayer on.
Do not let him absorb the shadow.
So like that's a pretty good example of, you know, obviously I missed a prayer flick, but it's kind of fine because my devoted saved me on like 4 hits, so that was like, that would tell you like about how much damage you can take without soul split flicking. So obviously at the end of phase 1 I was out of health, you know, and if you're not soul split flicking, that's usually health that you have to eat. So now we're going to soul split flick, and I'm going to show you one phase 1 where I do it, or where I recommend how you learn it, and then another phase 1 where you do it like perfectly. So when you're learning, the best way to soul split flick is you put soul split on, and then as soon as his attack animation starts, you put on the appropriate prayer, and then as soon as the damage registers, you put back on soul split. When you get better at it, you can do tick perfect soul splits, and I'll show you what that looks like. But here, I'm just going to show you what what learning it is going to look like for you guys. So here we have soul split on, magic, damage registered, melee, damage registered, magic, damage registered, range, damage registered.
Absorb the shadow.
Melee, damage registered, ranged, damage registered, melee, damage registered, magic, damage registered. And this is just a Shadow Ball mechanic, just freedom and move. Ranged, damage registered, magic, damage registered, melee, magic.
Do not let him absorb the shadow.
Ranged.
7 minutes. 7 minutes is all I can spare to play with you.
Thanks, Tintle Toast, for the follow. But you can see I'm like still like kind of losing HP, but it's not the biggest deal. Like at the end of this phase, I'm close to full health. So that's how I recommend learning, is just you keep doing Soul Split Flick on practice mode until you get to the end of phase 1 without losing any health. Or not without losing any health, but you can reliably get to the end of phase 1 reasonably healthy without using any food. Once you're good at it, you can start doing tick perfect flicks, which this is gonna be what it looks like. I'm just gonna do 2 special attack row rotations so you guys can see.
The flow has been interrupted. He is roused.
So here you just want Soul Split on for exactly 1 tick, and it's the tick that you would be taking damage. And you can see my health pretty much never drops below 9,000 when I'm doing it properly. And there I just missed one, which is fine, because we have a little bit of downtime here, so we can just Soul Split, and then we're going to hit the rest of them, so we're going to be able to stabilize our HP. So one of the good things about doing it tick perfect is that Soul Split on, or so your Soul Split is just on for a little bit longer. So what ends up happening is even if you mess up a flick, or if you take a lot of unavoidable damage, what ends up happening is you still end up being in the green for HP. Like you saw, I took 5,000 extra damage there than I would have taken with by doing the slower flicks, but at the end of the phase I had around the same health. So that just kind of goes to show like how important Soul Split Flicks are, and how much you get rewarded for doing them properly, right? Because we took more damage, but we ended up with the same amount of health just because we're good enough at Soul Split Flicking that, you know, we get to heal a lot more than we would normally. So hopefully this shows you guys kind of why it's so important and how you can go about practicing it. If you guys were struggling with bosses like Raksha, this is a really good way of learning how to get through the first two phases. Doing the bladed dive is a little bit tough, and I know a lot of people struggle with that, but Soul Split Flicking is applicable at most high-end bosses, so highly recommend learning it. It's also especially good at bosses that don't have multiple styles. So Soul Split Flicking at Karapak and at Zuk, your damage, it's a lot easier because it's only 2 buttons, and your resource management is so much easier as well because you just don't have to eat as much. So yeah, hopefully this helps you guys get a little bit better at that. If you like the video, drop me a like, drop me a sub to support the channel if you want to become a member, and yeah, take it easy.